there is giving everything they've got. But I've been really impressed with everybody that I've met, everybody that Neil's met, that are connected with the football club. And just to say that it's really been quite easy for us to settle in. Even if you go, when I stay over and you go around the town, if you pop out for something to eat, everybody's been exceptionally friendly. Everybody wants us to do well, which I think is brilliant. So just to say thank you for that, really, and hopefully, we can, go some way to trying to repay you guys on the football pitch.
That was a good one. Hardly answered a question there, though.
Any more questions?
Hi guys. I'm very much aware that I'm a white man asking two white men a question in front of a room that is mostly white men. But the reaction to the players taking the knee against Aston Villa was very different to the reaction to the players taking the knee against Crystal Palace. And I was wondering if you had anything to say to the people who had a negative reaction to the players taking the knee against Aston Villa. And, what is the club going to continue with the taking the knee? I'm 100% for it. I think it's the correct decision to take. But I wanted to know your views on that.
Well, I think this is a difficult area. I've received some letters in the last 6 or 7 months of fans deeply against players taking the knee. The club do not have a view on this, other than this is a player's decision. And if the players decide to take a knee, then I support them. If the players decide they're not going to take the knee, I support them. And it's all right for me. I'm a white guy, and I've not suffered prejudices in my life. But most of our players have. And so it's very easy for me to, to sit here and pontificate about what players do. So my view on this one is perfectly simple. This is a matter for them. And if they choose to take the knee, and I think when they take the knee, it's at the level of they want to take the knee to make a point about the inequalities within the world in which they have lived. It's not to go to the next level of the political movement that's beneath that, which is the Black Lives Matter, which people do have some concerns about. So I think my approach to this is to allow the players the freedom to do what they think is right. And often what happens is that the players from both sides decide what they're going to do before the game, and they tend to honour it amongst themselves. I don't like the booing of it at all, personally. I think they've got a point to make, and they're making it. I think it will evolve as time goes by to something different. But I can't say any more than I think this is a matter for them, because I think that's the right decision for me to make. And the second thing is, it's all right for me. I'm a white man who has suffered no prejudices in my life, which is not true of many footballers, both in this club and other clubs. So that's my philosophy on it. And if I would never go into the training ground and say to the Walsall squad, lads, I've decided you're not going to take the knee on Saturday. What the hell have that got to do with me? That's a matter for them. And so I will support whatever decision they come along with. And it's a difficult area, and I understand the sensitivities, and I have got some pretty robust letters about it. But such is the life of a chairman. The one thing I've made clear to supporter groups yesterday, though, is that toleration of social media on, you know, prejudices that people have, I find personally abhorrent, and will stamp on it if I need to. Since I became chairman, I've only banned one person from the stadium. One. For extreme behaviour, you know, very extreme. I hate it to have to do that, but for that sort of behaviour, I would certainly think about and contemplate it. But in answer to your direct question, you know, I think it's a matter for the players, and I will support them on it.
Have you got anything to say about that, Matt?
No, it's the players' decision. I spoke to them on it. Likewise, it's their decision to make, and I'll back them 100% with their decision. That's it's not my decision to make for them. So I've spoken to them, and we've spoken about it. They inform me what they want to do. I back their decision 100%.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I'm a supporter of Walsall Football Club, and I'll support the players in whatever decision they take. Thank you.
Just a quick one again, Matt. Just really to lighten the mood a little bit, I'd like to know the person behind the head coach at Walsall. They're in charge of my team, so I'd like to know a little bit about them.
As long as there's nothing personal, I'll answer.
No. It's just obviously about your background, your career. I've done a little bit of research on you.
What do you know then? Tell me, come on.
Well, you
You
could
tell me, come on, you want to lighten the mood, you tell me.
Well, no, it's more so, I guess your time at Luton and different things like that are more in tune with what's going on at a club like Walsall compared to whatever can remember at Bolton and Portsmouth and places like that. But yeah, for everyone's benefit really, kind of just talk us through your career, what you learned, what you can bring forward from your career as a manager, missing out on Spurs, England.
I learnt that football's the most ruthless business going, but it's also the best job any person can have. And I can only speak from my perspective, because you know, at the age of 14, getting released from a football club and then probably having my dreams shattered and it not being something that I thought was achievable for me to be a footballer, to then at 16 to get a second bite of the cherry, and it changed my mindset. And I think I learned I was quite self-aware at a young age of what I was good at and what I wasn't very good at. And I got given a bit of advice probably about the age of 17 to focus on the things that I could do, spend the majority of my time on that, because that would be what would get me a career. And then if I had enough time, to spend as much time as I could on the other things. So I would say that if I asked the average football fan who'd watched me play, they pretty much know what I could do and what I couldn't do. I was never the most technical footballer, in terms of there were always players in the group that were better than me, but they wouldn't outwork me, they wouldn't outrun me, they wouldn't make the sacrifices that I would make. And that helped me not to get to the top, but to stay there. Because it's harder to stay somewhere than to get there, because the journey to get somewhere is enjoyable. Yeah, you're always reaching for something. So then when you get there and the realization hits you, kind of, right, I'm here now, what do I do? At times you can come off of it, but then the older you get, everyone's coming up underneath you, they're quicker, they're stronger, and you kind of think, right, well, they want your job, they want your contract, which you've got a family, you want the best for them. So from my perspective, I made the pact that there was never anybody that was going to outwork me. There was never anybody that was going to have a better left foot than me. You know, there was never anybody that was going to outrun me. I would probably go a little bit too far with it sometimes, but that was my super strength. It was a mentality. It was also understanding where I was in the food chain. And by that, what I mean is I knew I wasn't the best player ever, but I understood what my value to my teammates and to the football club that I was playing for at the time was. And probably that, well, I know definitely that helped me out. So all I'd say is that, you know, with players now, it's probably being more self-aware, but there's far more noise externally now than there ever was when I was coming through. And that you've got to be a really strong individual now to deal with that, especially if you look at the social media aspect of it. Everybody's a Premier League manager on Twitter, aren't they? Everybody who's played Football League manager and taken a team from I don't know, the conference and won the Champions League. So everybody now has an opinion. And for a lot of the young players, it's difficult to have that mindset where you're going to be so driven and block all of that out. I was fortunate that when I came through, I didn't have that. I had the major influences in my life who always told me the truth, but I didn't have that noise that was constant, that you can't get away from, because we've all got a phone, we've all got a mini computer that you carry around with you, and everything pops up. So I don't know if I would be as successful if I was a footballer now, but I overachieved 100% of my career in terms of where I got because of the talent that I had, but then I had the drive and desire, others didn't. And I think that if I look at that and how is that relevant to life, I think that's relevant to a hell of a lot of things in life, not just football. I think that any business that you're in, if you're prepared to work harder, to make more sacrifices, spend more time learning about yourself, what you're good at, what you're not good at, your strengths, your weaknesses, I think that you got a better chance against somebody who maybe thinks that they're good at something but isn't prepared to work at it. And that, I would like to say, and hopefully Neil will back me up on this, that is what I'm trying to take into this, because that's the only reference point I have to be successful, is that you have to work harder, you have to make more sacrifices, you have to really understand yourself as best as you can to be the best at your job, regardless of what that job is, because then you can be really critical and self-reflection. And sometimes people aren't very good at that, are they? You know, when you talk about, do you really reflect on yourself, what you did well and what you didn't do well? So I haven't really answered the question about my career, but I've lightened the mood for you slightly because you're smiling.
Yeah, ever so slightly. No, that's great, Matt. Thank you.
Any more questions?
Phil, surely. No?
If there's no more questions, I don't suppose, Lee, Matt, have you got a closing message just to round things off?
Yeah, I'm going to echo the comment that Matt made. I think, thank you from the club to you. I mean, as I said to the question you asked, that we've got 25% more season ticket holders than we had the year before and the year before that. So that is fantastic. And we've got a big contingent going to Tranmere on Saturday. So, thank you for that. So I think it's time we said, I do on the videos, but let me say it to you publicly. Thank you to you for sticking with the club. I said this morning, I used the phrase, we've delivered more off the field than we have on it. It's about time we change that. And so with the changes that we've made, I expect that to be the case. So thank you for being, sticking with us when you finished 19th in League Two, which is not something I'm remotely proud of, which is why we made the changes that we did. So stick with us, because I think it's going to be an exciting ride over the next year or two. And there'll be some bumps in the old road, and you'll be at my throat as I walk across to the car. Chairman, what the bloody hell are you signing in for? But I think it'll be a lot of fun getting there. So I look forward to this season more than I've looked forward to any in recent memory. I think it's going to be quite something. So we'll see. So thank you all very much.
Thank you.